Hello and welcome back to the last part of my conversation with Heather Rausch. The lessons she learned, it's the best part, the lessons she learned on her journey. Heather raised a son as a single mom, underwent brain surgery, and went back to a corporate job, realized it wasn't for her, and then reinvented herself as an entrepreneur again, and founder of her company, Foxfire Events. She is a master creator of environments and connector of people in meaningful ways. I'm María Tomás-Keegan, and this is part of my continuing series of interviews with brilliant, resilient women like Heather, who have inspiring stories to tell and who are role models for the rest of us when it comes to learning to thrive. Hi, Heather.
Hi, Maria.
I am so looking forward to this part because this is where I believe we leave golden nuggets for people. And I'm sure many of our listeners are eager to know more of your secrets and some of the lessons that you learned about coming from such a positive place. So would you share those with us now?
Sure, I'd be happy to. So I think in the past two parts, I've talked about a couple different things that are really my secrets, or they're not really secrets, but how I choose to live in this life. And, one of the things is perspective, and talking about, really shifting your perspective to be able to create what it is you desire. I think is so important. And, one of the things I want to share, because I feel like there's some women that can relate to this out there, is, after I had my surgery, I went back to the corporate world, as you had mentioned. And the reason I did that is because I had been an entrepreneur before that. And then I went and had the surgery, then went back to corporate because I felt like corporate was the safe bet. I felt like that was the responsible thing for me to do. Again, I was a single mom, and I felt like, I couldn't really count on not having a steady income at that point. Now I had a bunch of medical bills on top of everything else. And so I said, okay, I'm going to go back to corporate, and I'm going to get a regular job, which I have to say, right, job stands for just over broke, which is what I was told before. But anyway, I went back to corporate because I thought it was the responsible thing to do, right? I would have set hours, a steady paycheck, medical benefits, all the stuff that felt safe. And what I realized after being in corporate for a little bit was that I'm just not a corporate person anymore. I like to think outside the box too much, I think, for that. And what I realized too was that I was sitting there taking what I called the safe route, which really, how safe really is it, right? When you're in corporate, you could be let go at any time. So it's not really all that safe. It just feels more structured, I think, for us. And nothing against corporate, because I think it's great for a lot of people. It just wasn't right for me. But what I noticed is I was here in that role, and I felt like I was just limiting myself. I knew that I was destined to do more, and that I had so much more in me. And I remember thinking, I was sitting at my desk and I looked out over the parking lot area of where I worked, and across the street was a dirt lot. And I remember looking there at the dirt and I thought, what am I doing? I don't want to spend my whole life sitting here, just staring out the window at this vacant lot. And I remember that I always tell my son that he can do anything he wants. He can be anything he wants. That the world is full of opportunities, and he can do anything. But yet I was sitting there playing safe, I thought. And so I just felt like I was being a little bit hypocritical, and not going after my dreams. And I was doing it in the name of safety, security, responsibility, but it really was not what I was meant to do. I learned so much while I was there. So I don't, think that it was totally lost, right? Because we can learn something in everything we do. But I knew I needed to get back out on my own and get back to my business. So I think, just having that experience, and again, going back to really looking at why are you where you are, what can you learn from it, but then also how can you grow, and what's next. So that was a big thing for me, is having that just shift in my perspective, realizing that, the responsible thing really is for me to continue on and continue building my business and impacting as many lives as possible through what I create, bringing people together so that they can connect and they can do what they're meant to do, I think is a beautiful thing. So that was really important for me. And one of the biggest lessons is just, again, going after your dreams, and don't just sit back and wait for things to happen, or don't be afraid to take that next step, but really put yourself out there, play full out. And when the fears come up, address them and work through them. And then the biggest thing after that, I would say, and this one is so important, I think so many women miss this, and I did for a long time too, but I think the support piece, is so crucial, right? We try so many times to just handle things on our own, and to just, be strong and not really show our fears, or not really show what's happening on the inside. I think so many times women are told to just present a really strong front and not share what's happening within us. But if you never show what's going on the inside, that really cuts off, I think, how people can connect to you and relate, right? So I think that support piece is so important. For me, I have friends that I'll talk to, girlfriends I'll talk to, but then also, for me, it took really digging deeper and doing a lot of self-development and personal growth. So whatever that looks like for you, everybody's different on how they choose to do that. I found great support in the Center for Intuitive Development, and did a lot of personal growth and that through their workshops and through their community, which has been life-changing for me. And I think they're a great resource. And I think there's lots of great resources out there. So people need to find what connects for them, and where they can get the most benefit for themselves. But if you don't know where to go, that I definitely recommend them, checking them out there. But also just having that community around you, and uniting with others around you, and not being afraid to say, I'm having a rough day, because we all have them. We all have them. It's just a matter of how quickly we can bounce back from them, I think. So, and that support piece is crucial. If you lock yourself up in your house or in your office and just act like, I just have to be strong and get through, you're not going to get there as quickly. And it's more of a struggle. So really having that support and surrounding yourself with other women, and positive women, women that are going the course that you want to go, not the ones that are kind of negative, or stuck. It's great to help each other when you get stuck, but don't put yourself in a position where you're just, sitting in the middle of a bunch of people that really maybe don't want to move forward. So you want to surround yourself with people who really also are moving forward, and you guys can help each other out. I know that for me has been so important.
Yeah, I agree. It's like looking for the role models for us, right? So you talked about being a role model for your son, and that's so important, and looking for people that just surround ourselves with who are role models for us.
Yes.
Who can mirror for us who we aspire to be. And help, kind of reach their hands out and pull us up with them. At the same time, we're reaching down and pulling someone else up. I love that.
Yeah. Yes.
What else? So perspective and support. What else?
Perspective, support. I also say celebrating all of your successes, right? So a lot of us have big goals, and we think, okay, when I get to that big goal, I'm going to do something really big, right? Because it's it's big and it's important, and we're excited about it. But, sometimes just celebrating the small things are, what we need in that moment. And it makes a difference. So, it can be something as simple as, okay, today I'm gonna have an extra cup of coffee, or I'm gonna go get a latte, or, something you might not be doing all the time, or, just celebrate every little thing. When somebody asks, if somebody is not asking, but if somebody tells you, that they've had a really great experience. So like for me at my events, I put on events all the time. And so I do that. I show up, I have the event, and I don't always, I can see how great things are going or the connections that are being made, but I don't always get a ton of feedback from people on the events. And when I do, I love it. It is so neat to hear what other people's experiences are, rather than just my perception of what is happening, right? So when I get those, that feedback back, I like to celebrate it, when somebody's had a really great experience. And, I do a little happy dance sometimes. I look like a fool probably, but, I do, I do happy dances in my office, or, at an event or after an event. And it makes me feel good because it helps remind me of what I'm doing and why I'm doing it, and the impact it's having. So I think it's really important for us to realize the impact we have on the lives of others. And I know, Maria, you had said on our break that, you always think about how many women this is impacting, right? Through what we're doing here. And it is huge. And so I think when you can really take that in and realize that impact and feel that, it just fills us up. And you're doing amazing things by, sharing all of this information and introducing so many people to different women with different stories that they can relate to. And it's huge, so thank you for doing what you do, because it's amazing.
Oh, thank you, Heather. I appreciate that. And, I if I didn't think I'd look like a fool, I'd be doing a happy dance right now. But I think I'll wait till the camera's off.
Oh, I think you should do it anyway. There you go. See, it feels good.
Yes, it does. And you reminded me that, and I talk about celebrations a lot with my clients, because it's so important that the little things add up to big things.
Yeah. They do.
Yeah, and you just reminded me that this morning I do a Sunday, every Sunday inspirational email to my followers, and I don't get a lot of feedback from that either. But this morning, I got a little note that said, and it was a one-liner: "What you wrote this week inspired me," and I will celebrate that. I promise you I will celebrate that, because that is it's good to get that feedback.
It is important. And you know what? The thing I'm learning too is it's okay to ask for that feedback too, right?
Yes.
So, ask for it, ask for testimonials, ask for feedback. I say that with all my events now. After the events or of my sponsors, I'll say, let me know what you really think. If there's any opportunities for improvement, I certainly want to know those as well. And anything that you're loving, let me know, so that we can keep doing those things. And it makes all the difference in the world. So it's okay to ask for the feedback as well. And you'll be surprised, because I think it'll be even better than we often even imagine it could be, which is really cool too.
Yeah, you're so right about that. Any other lessons you'd like to share?
I think the last one I would say is just, don't be afraid to be you. That's the biggest thing too, is just be you, and you're enough. You're everything you need to be. And just don't be afraid to be you, and put yourself out there. And when you do that, when you're vulnerable and you do put yourself out there, it's a beautiful thing. And, not everybody is going to like everything you do. Not everybody is going to like you. I know not everybody likes me for whatever reasons they have, right? But that's not anything. It's really nothing to do with me typically, right? When somebody doesn't like something, it usually has all to do with them and what's going on for them, or how, what's going on in their life, or maybe how you trigger something within them and you don't even know you're doing it. So don't ever hold on to that. Don't ever let any of that worry you. It's not worth it. Right? And so life is meant to be lived, and we should live our best life, like everybody's saying these days. I hear that phrase all the time, live your best life. But I think it's important. And I think if we're just true to ourselves and are genuine and putting ourselves out there, great things are going to happen. And if a glitch comes up, then we address it as it does, and we keep moving forward. And we just keep uniting and coming together and supporting one another, and it's a beautiful thing.
Indeed, indeed, indeed. Okay, this is this is a lot of great stuff. I talk about golden nuggets: perspective, support, celebrating the little things, and being you.
Yeah,
that's a recipe for having a great attitude for life, and living it in just the very best way possible. And I'll go back to the title of this episode, which you came up with, and I love it. It's perseverance and living full out, and that is you are a shining example of that, Heather, and we all can hold you up as a role model for us when it really when we're looking for an example of what it is to thrive in this life. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. This is just, I have learned a lot from you today. I have been inspired, and I am certain that members of our audience will take their own golden nuggets from this. So I want to thank everyone for watching my conversation with Heather Rausch. This series of interviews is inspired by my latest book, Upside Down to Right Side Up: Turning Transition into Triumph. And my book, its companion journal, and these interviews are intended to share stories from the heart and life strategies that can help. I invite you to share them with the women in your life, so none of us will ever again feel alone. Many of us have gone through similar experiences, and we're here to help. I believe it's our time to thrive. Will you join me in that? I'm María Tomás-Keegan. Till next time.